Hey there, welcome to the Cult Show.
We're back.
Live from Sonoma County. It's Friday night.
Oh, that was
I like
clever.
it. That's catchy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Clever.
I'm
We
trying
should
to
use
think of
that.
anything I can that involves Friday. So, what's
Friday
happening, you guys?
night.
It's Friday. I'm
gonna
in
get
love.
drunk. Gonna
I did
get
that last
laid.
week. Caleb, you don't remember? That's what I did last week.
I thought you did
Yeah.
Friday. Gotta get.
That
down
was the
on
week
Friday.
before.
Oh,
That was,
okay.
I know, it all blends together.
Everything
and
blends
It
together.
all blends together.
And I was
That's
hearing
right.
Amy Sedaris. It's Friday night. I'm gonna get drunk. I'm gonna get laid. I'm gonna be late on Monday. See you around like a donut.
All right, good job, Sandra. I've never heard you sing
Oh.
before.
It's Amy Sedaris. I love her so much. At Home with Amy Sedaris. You guys know who that is?
I've heard of her, yes.
From wasn't she on that TV show?
She had a TV show. She's very funny. She has one right
Why
now.
am I blanking on the name? Isn't that Strangers with Candy? Isn't
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Neil knows her, but he's distracted by something right now.
He is. He looks really pensive.
Yeah, I'm
Right?
sorry, guys. Sorry, YouTube is throwing up a message saying there's an error. YouTube is not receiving enough video
YouTube
to maintain
threw up on
smooth
you?
streaming. So that's why I'm kind of like, what does that mean? Are we actually streaming or not streaming?
Maybe
So,
we
friends
need-
on the chat, are you able to see and hear us? Can
I
you let
am-
us know?
I'm
'Cause-
watching the feed now. I can see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So it's throwing up this big yellow error sign right now. So okay,
It's like we're in a little canoe and the waters are very rocky.
yeah,
Rough.
you know this internet
Yeah.
has been just such a pain in the butt. You know
This
So-
internet.
this internet.
This
I
internet.
tell ya. So this is what we deal with when we're all stuck inside on a lockdown for so long. We start to go a little crazy, which is why
Yes.
we're here, not together but separately again. But you know, at least we make an effort to see each other once a week.
You know what? We got an A for effort. God damn it. We made an effort.
God damn it!
It doesn't have to be good. We just made the effort.
Exactly. That's better than nothing.
Miss Movie Buff says we can hear and see and hear.
Oh.
See and hear. Yeah, I can read.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Fabulous.
Miss Movie Buff. Laura, I'm very glad that your eyes and ears are working. That's a lot these days. Congratulations.
It's a lot these days.
Hey, we got Lewis on the line. Lewis and Michael.
Lewis
Lewis,
Lewis
Michael,
and
and
Michael.
Mandy.
Yeah.
and Mandy, friends.
We got our friends. We got the crew today.
Friends.
Very
Yeah.
exciting.
The people
Lewis,
that
hopefully
matter.
Steven will join in at some point too.
Where is Steven?
So,
Where is
well,
he?
apparently, Lewis says that Steven is having a little more trouble adjusting to the shut-in. So,
Well, we
I've been
could
trying
help
to-
him with that.
I know I've been trying. Lewis has been trying. He says he's been trying. So,
Steven, we got you, bro. I
We
miss
do,
his
Steven.
stories.
reach
God, I
out
miss
to us. We were here for you, man.
I
Yeah.
miss his stories so much. He makes me laugh
Reach
so
out
freaking
and
hard.
we'll be there.
We just come at you.
So, yeah, what are we drinking tonight, guys? What's going on?
Well, I'm still on medication circulating through from the torn muscle. So I'm
Yes.
I'm double fisting ginger ale and sparkly water.
Wow, that's pretty
Nice.
impressive.
Robin Leach right here.
I went all out and I made myself a Bloody Mary.
Wow.
As-
Retrospect, I
said-
probably should have done this for the vampire episode, but that might have made a little more sense. But yeah, and I even did garnishes.
I mean,
never
so
do.
I said this before, but I'll say it for the audience. Caleb's like up here. Caleb's living in 2030. Neil and I are living in like 2018. He's like, his game is like way
This
up there.
week,
This week,
And-
I went back to the basics. I'm just doing the Wild Turkey 101.
He's drinking wild turkey out of an old shoe.
you shooting?
out of an old shoe. That's how I do it. I like that. If patina could have a taste, it would be Wild Turkey from an old shoe. So that's what it would be. So
Tastes
Well-
like 1995 Nike.
1932 Buster Browns.
Cobbler
So-
shoe.
Anyway, cheers, you guys. Happy
Well,
Friday.
Oh,
Cheers, you guys.
cheers.
Love you.
Happy
Cheers, Sandra.
Friday.
Cheers.
Love
Caleb.
you all.
Love you. Ah, I like my
That
whiskey.
was
I'm gonna be honest.
delicious.
You love
That's-
whiskey.
I like
You're
my
like-
bourbons.
You're like
I've never thrown
mostly
up.
made
I've
of
never thrown up
whiskey.
from bourbon. Yeah.
Never
kept
in
it
your
down.
life.
No,
Never
I've kept it down every time.
Since you were a child, even.
Especially as a child. Yes.
You know what I mean.
Back
I've
when I was in the
I've known
Appalachians making
Neil-
my own.
I've known Neil for almost 30 years, and he is not a puker
No.
No.
when it comes to drinking. So.
Because why, Caleb?
Why?
Because why?
Because you're awesome and lucky and not a fucking lush like I am. And...
No, because I taught myself when I was 16, when I almost, when I had the cherry brandy incident.
The cherry brandy night.
Which was vomit and hot butt mud at the same time.
Both ends.
At both ends at the same time from being so utterly drunk. So I taught myself at 16, you don't do that. You don't go overboard. So
Ugh.
I never learned that lesson.
Was it like homemade
in my
cherry
youth?
brandy?
It was not homemade. No, it was from Safeway. It's probably like Safeway Select brand. I don't know.
It was
They
probably
make their
like
own.
baking sherry or something.
No, it was. I went to the store and got it with someone who was of age to buy it, but I just drank it all. Oh,
but why
did
you?
about it.
Did
It makes
you
me
pick
nauseous. What's that?
Did you pick it? It's such a bold choice.
Such a bold choice.
I think I was saying I was never really a fan of beer, if you remember back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was still new to hard liquor, and I think he said, "Well, it's kind of sweet, so you'll probably like this."
Yeah.
So I think he kind of helped me, steered me in that direction. So yeah, I drank the whole damn thing. I even mixed it. We had Mickey's. Remember when Mickey's came in the green barrel?
in those little
Mickey's Big
that are
Mouth, the
barrels?
little grenades.
So I drank that and didn't like it, so I poured in the cherry brandy.
Oh,
That was your problem.
that's what. Yeah.
Well,
wait,
and
I
drinking the
think-
whole. We don't want to talk about it. It makes
I
me
feel like we
nauseous now.
just used the
No,
scientific method here to get to the bottom of this.
I think you would have been fine if you had just stuck to one or the other. It was.
I agree.
Maybe I don't know, but
yeah,
Never
combine the two.
again.
it was 30 years ago. 30 years ago today, Mr. Mickey's told me how to.
Sergeant Mickey's. Ugh.
So the best part, Sandra, though, the best
Yes.
part is when I was at a
I'm
friend's
waiting.
house and he lived in the country.
Yes.
And so it was a little more of a rustic home. So they didn't have a garbage disposal in their sink in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And when I first had to expel the cherry brandy, I ran to the kitchen because it was closest to me, the first sink I could get to. So I, had my first bout in there, and I plugged it up.
Oh my God! You broke their sink.
So, and there's no garbage disposal.
Oh
So
no!
So I go, here, doggy. Anyway, more than anyone else. Sorry, people. I'm sorry.
Wait,
No,
you didn't involve an
your
animal.
connection went a little wonky there. So
Yeah, it made it sound. It made it sound way worse than whatever you did.
Really? My connection went wonky. Okay.
So you fed it to the dog.
I fed
No,
the
you did
chunks to the
not.
dog.
No, you didn't.
I did. With
No,
a
you're
fork.
lying.
No,
Stop
I'm
it.
not.
You're lying. I don't believe you for 1 second. I will not
Okay.
be fooled. I will not be fooled by
No,
this.
I think you did.
Oh my God, Neil, you're supposed to be an animal lover. What the fuck's wrong with you?
The dog was happy.
Dogs
No
don't
one's
care.
This is a horrible
Dogs
story,
eat
and
their
everyone
own poop.
loses.
You think they're gonna like?
That's true. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you.
This is a horrible story. Everyone lost. Everyone loses. There's no winners.
I think the dog was the winner. What did you have to eat that day?
It was the giant French fries from Lions. Remember those
okay.
from Lions restaurant.
Yeah,
It came
those
out the
big-
same way it went in, which was a weird thing. So
Giant French fries?
They're like thick cut wedge fries or something.
Oh, I'm picturing
Lions used to have big wedge cut fries
Yeah,
made from styrofoam.
yeah.
Oh, they were made
with a side of
Styrofoam
ranch.
fries.
Was it
yeah.
a pool noodle? Was it a pool noodle?
With a
Taste about the
maybe
same.
I don't. Yeah,
Probably. Made of the same
sure.
stuff.
Why not a pool noodle? Anyway, time ago. So where are we at?
I don't think Lions
okay.
exists anymore.
Mindy doesn't like that story.
No,
Horrible story.
not around here at least.
Sandra doesn't like it either.
That's a great one. Goes into the annals of history. Scott likes it. That's all that matters.
I'm
Hey,
losing
you know,
respect
while
for
we're on
you.
the topic of Scott, can we just give a quick shout out to our producer Scott? He deserves so much accolades for everything he does. So even
A
though
round
when
of
I go
applause.
when I go internet wonky, it's not his fault, even though we blame him for it. So, but thank you,
Somebody has
Scott,
to
as
be
always.
blamed.
He's in our
Yes.
ears, in our hearts. We love
Yeah.
you.
He's
So,
like our conscience that tells us what to do.
he is. He's on this shoulder and this shoulder. I don't know which.
He's the
The
devil
angel.
and the
He's
angel.
both.
That's right. So you guys watch anything good this week?
Yes.
Please share.
I was just
And
gonna leave
that
it at
would
that.
be
I
on a
watched
time
two
limit.
things. I watched two things this week. I watched a movie on Netflix called Rattlesnake.
Hmm.
Watched it with a friend. We both were like FaceTiming while we watched it. And it is on the Netflix, and it is a newer horror movie. And it was really quite good. It was about a mom who's driving through like Texas with her like little girl, and the little girl gets bit by a rattlesnake,
Oh.
and a mysterious stranger heals her, but it comes with a price.
Wow.
Okay.
That's all I'll say. And that particular friend I watch it with, she's a mom, and she really likes watching movies, like horror movies, where parents have to make like tough decisions, you know, like they have to do like fucked up things.
Okay.
So that was good, Rattlesnake. And then I watched Don't Leave the House on Shudder, which is like an Irish horror movie about an artist that goes to Ireland to do a commission for this priest that was involved in a little girl's disappearance. And it was kind of bizarre, but enjoyable. And that was on Shudder. Rattlesnake,
Okay.
Don't Leave Home.
Okay. That rattlesnake
welcome.
sounds pretty cool. I'll have to check
And
that
then I
out.
just play
Yeah.
Animal Crossing Read.
Your Animal Crossing, I know.
I'm animals. Oh, and I work. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have a whole muscle thing. Yeah.
And you're back.
Everything.
That's right. You're back.
Yeah,
is a
but
big
it's getting
issue.
better. It's getting better.
That's good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
We've
What about
been-
you guys?
What'd you watch, Caleb? Anything?
So I did two trilogies, believe it or not.
Wow.
One I've seen before, The Hobbit. Still kind of disappointed based on the source material.
I
But
agree. 100%
It killed a
agree.
lot of time. But then I did, and I never saw all three. I watched the very first one, but I finally bit the bullet and watched all three. I did the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the foreign ones.
Oh, the Swedish
foreign
ones?
ones. Okay.
The Swedish ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
Those
on
are cool.
Amazon Prime right now, so I watched those there.
Oh,
I really enjoyed
I
them.
might have to watch those.
Cool.
I love those books.
Yeah.
Love the books. Did you read the books?
What's her name? Naomi Rapace, or however you say her name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's
amazing.
She's awesome as Elizabeth
her.
Salander. So
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Love her.
All right.
And then I've gone for 2 runs this week, and I'm very sore. So.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Look at you. Congrats. Did you think of me while you were running? Because I couldn't run.
I wasn't thinking very much, except just.
You should have been like, this one's for you.
So I just.
From my friend on the sidelines.
Turn my music up as loud as possible and just try to get through it. So.
And you just shove pedestrians out of the way. Yeah. You're not social distancing. You're just like, get the
fuck No. We're actually, it's that was the cool thing, is there's not lots of people, but just I just ran around my block. I didn't go to like any of the parks around here or anything, because I figured those might be a little busier. But there were people out walking, and we all kind of, when we would see each other, just sort of drift apart a little bit. And like I would try to give everyone a little wave, just say like, hey, what's up? We're all in this together.
Yeah. We're lucky we live in Sonoma County and we can do that, because so many people, like, it's so crowded, they can't really go for walks.
They can't do
that
or
anything. Yeah. We're super lucky. Yeah.
Wow.
What did you do, Neil? Anything?
I watched the Beastie Boys.
Oh, the documentary.
Doc. Yeah, it was really good. I really recommend that. It was really cool. They did a good job. It was
it looks good.
Done differently, it's on Apple TV, but if you right now you can get a 7-day free trial. Just go on, watch the movie, watch the show. So it's really worth it. It was really a lot of fun. If you grew up with them, you know what I mean? Even if you weren't a huge fan, it was still a part of your growing up. It was really cool. So
nice.
I would have to recommend it for sure.
Wow. I have to get on that Apple
Yeah,
TV.
do it. So, otherwise, yeah, Scott's
just
doing
living the
his thing.
dream.
'Cause I think we're bringing on a
We have a
Mr.
special
Dean
guest.
Cundey. Oh my goodness,
Hello, sir.
Look,
Dean,
he's
how are
popped
you?
in. Hello.
Hello there.
Yay! The man at the hour.
What are you guys doing in the neighborhood?
We thought we'd just kind of drop in real quick, take a little quick howdy do.
Yeah,
See
take
how
a
you're
dip in the
doing.
pool.
Well, thanks very much. It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
You as well, absolutely. So part of our lockdown look-in segment that we do from week to week, we like to check in on some friends of the show and see how they're doing during this trying time. And Dean,
Yes.
your number came up.
Oh, wait, I hope you mean only in a positive way.
Only in a positive way. Always positive.
I didn't want
So yeah, so we would like to know basically like what does Dean Cundey do to basically pass the time? Like what
Have you
any
been
particular
filling the
shows you're
hours?
watching? Yeah, food
Oh.
you're eating?
Well, let's see. My wife is an excellent cook, so we have delicious dinners.
Okay.
Nice.
We also have good breakfasts.
Love it. Breakfast, the best meal of the day.
A lot of times we have a tasty lunch.
Wow, okay.
And a tasty
What
lunch.
I try to do is I fill in between those with, stuff. So I've been taking advantage of this to sort of slowly go through my office and clean out. I'm throwing away all of the unused screeners, the movies that the Academy sends. Just ones that are like very obscure to make for the good ones. Every now and then we'll take a ride, get in the car and drive protectedly around just to get a little sightseeing done.
Yeah.
And we're writing emails to friends and crew people and, that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Oh, sounds
Nice.
pretty good. Spending
Yeah.
some time organizing and downsizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, Zoom has become the new thing. And so the American Society of Cinematographers board meeting, I'm on the board. We have board meetings with Zoom. We have membership meetings with Zoom. It's amazing. I have a feeling we're going to get so used to this, and then Zoom is going to fine tune everything, and along with all of the other, virtual meeting people, and pretty soon we won't leave our houses.
Right.
I think you're right. I think it's going to change some things. Yeah.
And they're talking about how do we start up production again. That's a big, because we're so used to having a crew that's close together, and actors that talk right in each other's faces for a two-shot. And, a bunch of people they call lunch, and we all go and sit in tables together after going through a buffet line. So there's an awful lot of stuff that is we can't change, like insurance companies. They can say, oh, this is great. Everybody's working from their own office at home,
Right.
and we're still insurance policies written and all that. Production isn't like that at all. Production is like everybody has to be there. Everybody has to contribute and so forth. So I can't see me, sitting home saying, okay, put a light over there. No, the other there.
Yeah.
You definitely can't.
Yeah.
You can't have. I mean, I guess like you're saying, maybe everything will just be a single shot now. You'll have one actor at a time. No more,
Yeah.
two people won't be acting together anymore. It'll just be one person at a
and,
time.
and all the actors will be at home in front of a green screen, so they can put any background they want behind them.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'll be an interesting job for cinematographers and director of photography, trying to light that properly. Yeah, set those shots up. That would be a different era.
That is a depressing thought. Yeah.
Well, it is. I mean, the business is so unique. It requires so many collaborators, from all the way up at the producers and the writers, the director, actors, the DP, and all the way through all of the crew people. Everybody, I always look at the crew people as my collaborators. They don't just set lights and do things like that. They have, participation.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to try to accomplish that virtually is virtually impossible. So, who knows how we're going to do it? And, I think that it's one of those things where maybe the producers are thinking, well, they're doing so great with these CG characters and all of this CG backgrounds and these computer everything. Why do we need these people anyway? And, there'll be this theory that you just go and talk to a bunch of computer geeks who, do that kind of stuff. And why do you need people anymore? You need just, like 10 or so people who can do that. And it's cheap because they'll all work in their mother's basement.
Well, that's true. It sounds like science fiction, though. Scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we will fight that, Dean. We don't want that at all.
Fight it. Yeah.
I would hate to see that.
That's something to go to. I think Sandra, Caleb, and I could easily mount a.
The cultists will rise up.
Yes, we will rise up.
Yeah.
So that won't happen. Hey, so
Okay.
Dean, are you drinking any wine? You have a glass of wine with you?
Wine?
Wine.
Why would I have a glass?
I don't know. Was that a special effect? Was that a practical or digital?
I love it.
Excuse me.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yes.
No.
Oh, delicious looking red wine.
Excellent. Do you have a red of choice that you go to, or are you just happy to any red wine that happens to be in your glass?
Well, no, we tend to be kind of discerning. Tisha and I are like wine aficionados. And so there's certain ones, usually reds, Cabernets are nice, but Merlots and all these other things. And we just look for good wine that's generally under $20 to $25. So that's the sort of the target, and you can get pretty good stuff there.
Okay,
absolutely.
And of course, you look
yeah.
for a good Sonoma County wine, right?
Alexander Valley Cab. Yeah.
That's where. Well, actually, we belong to 2 wine clubs from Sonoma, and they sending us, boxes of wine.
Yes.
Love it.
Are you still in the St. Francis Wine Club?
Sorry?
Are you still part of the St. Francis?
Oh, yeah.
Wine group?
Yay.
Yeah,
okay. I was with you for that one. I was with you guys when we signed up for that one. So
you're not.
Love St. Francis.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
It's so beautiful there too.
It is.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
It was one of our really great trips.
Yeah. Oh, good. And that's a good souvenir. Join a wine club. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they keep you reminders.
That's right. Awesome. So for anyone out there who maybe possibly doesn't know yet, Dean, you are, of course, as you mentioned, are I'm going to say, storied cinematographer. of such films like Back to the Future and Jurassic Park and Halloween and The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, Satan's Cheerleaders, Black Shampoo,
Rock and Roll High School.
Rock and Roll High School.
Girl
There
High
you go,
School,
Caleb.
yeah. Love that movie.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Roadhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Roadhouse, a lot of people's favorites, absolutely. So,
You know,
do you?
what's funny
I know
is
you get asked this all the time, but are there any of those films that of yours that you are particularly fond of, that you have extra special memories of? I mean, I know you get asked all the time, but
Oh, so many.
I know.
well, everybody says, "What's your favorite movie?" And I don't know. It's like saying, "Which of your triplets do you like better?" um, I usually name three films that are, for a variety of reasons, my semi favorites. Back to the Future, the trilogy, Roger Rabbit, and Jurassic Park.
Okay.
But then again, there are other movies that, Apollo 13 and things like that all have sort of certain qualities and all that make them, one of my favorites. And oddly enough, Roadhouse, which was kind of a low budget action film that had, a little better pedigree. It was I week or month or two ago, and I was pleasantly surprised at how sophisticated it looked for its budget and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what it is about that movie, but a lot of people really do like it, myself included. So I still remember the first time I saw it and loved it.
Oh,
So yeah.
yeah.
Oh, it's a excuse me. The story's well constructed. It's a guy who is thrown into an impossible task and triumphs over all kinds of adversity, and it's a dark, mysterious character. So it's got an interesting edge and well crafted.
Yeah.
And Sam Elliott.
Oh yeah,
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with Sam Elliott.
yeah. No,
Yep.
Sam, what a great fellow he was. He was friendly, personable, and very professional. So those are
Oh,
the characters I love working with, because they sort of realize that they're somebody who's making the movie too, as opposed to who the movie is all about.
Mm.
And so they're willing to help out and take care of little things that will make your job easier. Could you come in and stand over there instead of there? Oh, sure. That kind of thing.
Wow.
humble,
awesome.
that spirit of collaboration. You're talking
Oh, yeah.
about teamwork. Yeah.
So Dean, you were on our very first episode of the Cult Show back when we used to be able to record in a studio. Remember way back when? So, and you kicked my butt. Do you remember when you kicked my butt at Pac-Man?
I did. Well, I didn't know I was that good at it.
You were good for your first time. You did a really good job.
You were a natural.
You were a natural.
Well, it's funny. I obviously didn't come from a background of computers. Those things didn't exist. I saw the introduction of color television. So that's how far back I go. My son, though, when he was 10 years old, got interested in it, and I bought a computer, a simple Tandy Radio Shack computer, and over a period of time, he got involved with Pac-Man, and I sort of osmosis, I guess, that the games and in that world, and as a result of every Christmas him getting a new computer, he ended up in visual effects. Can you figure that? Mm.
I actually was watching The Fog a couple weeks ago. Happened to be on Shudder. In fact, it was on Shudder, Sandra. I was just kind of turned it on. I'm like, I'll watch this for the fun of it. I noted, Dean, that one of your children apparently were in The Fog.
Yeah, Chris and my daughter Michelle.
How cool is that?
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they grew up in the business. Chris, since he was 2 years old, was on sets and stuff, and so they both the kids have grown up in the business, and my both of them appear in Halloween as some of the trick-or-treating kids.
Wow.
My son has a little cameo in Back to the Future, and and also in The Fog, he was a what would you call him? A stand-in double, stunt double, sort of. So he and Michelle went into script supervising, and then switched over to camera. It's a family and Tisha, now my wife, came out of costume, on set costume. So it's a inclusive film family.
It is a film family. That's right.
That's awesome.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Wow. So you noted that looks like an Emmy Award behind you there on the counter.
Yeah, I think I see it.
Can you guys hear my cat? Is it?
No.
Oh
no. Okay, my cat is very loud. He's meowing. Sorry. Dean, you have an Emmy.
That one there. Yeah.
That's what. Huh. That's interesting. I bought that as swap meet.
It looks like the real thing.
I know. Next time I'm there, I'll pick one of those up.
Yeah.
What was that for?
That was for a documentary that I did with a friend of mine. I have a friend, Craig, who is was a producer of commercials, and he put together this documentary called "The Face: Jesus in Art," and it's an interesting documentary that traces how artists have portrayed over a long time, ever since he was, and narrated by Mel Gibson and some other folks, and it was a very intriguing, study of politics and art and everything around a very significant figure. So it won an Emmy and was for I think it was KCET, the PBS broadcast.
Nice.
That's so cool.
Well, congratulations, belated. Belated congratulations.
You guys weren't at the ceremony. I'm disappointed.
I know.
No.
Yeah. But and you also got Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014 from the American Society for Cinematography, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Greatly honored by
that's
that.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. That's super
Acknowledged
cool.
by your peers. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations for sure. Well deserved. My God.
Yeah.
The movies that you made that I watched growing up. Holy cow.
Yeah, you know what? I that's always a two-edged sort of compliment, which is because I'll be at a convention or something, and people will come up and say, "Oh my gosh, Jurassic Park! What a great movie!" And I say, "Thanks." And yeah, it's the first movie I watched as a kid, and I'm thinking, "Wait a second, I wasn't a kid when I made it."
Right.
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm old? So.
No.
Right? No.
It just means you're seasoned with style.
Yeah.
So,
Seasoned. I like seasoned.
absolutely. Hey, so
Yeah.
Dean, since our first show, how much notoriety have you gotten just because you were on the show? I mean, people recognize you on the streets now all the time when you're walking around.
No, not really.
No, I
No.
can't believe that.
Darn it.
That's one of the things I sort of appreciate about what I do
Yeah.
is that I don't get mobbed. I don't see how these stars do it. And I've been with them at times when they get deluged with people and paparazzi and all kinds of stuff. And every now and then, I was at Disneyland once, and two guys ran up and said, "Oh my gosh, Mr. Cundey, blah blah blah," and in an airport once. Actually, there was a time in the airport where I was waiting at the gate, and this lady came up and said, "Oh, sir, movie. Oh, thank you. Really?" She said, "Yes. Oh, I love everything you, especially that one Star Wars." And I said, "What?" She said, "Yes, Mr. Lucas. I love." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I'm thinking maybe maybe I should write a little autograph for her and say, "You're the ugliest person I've ever seen, George Lucas."
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Anyone would know you're not George Lucas because your neck doesn't hang down like 10 inches from your face.
Oh.
That's true.
Oh,
Too
all right,
funny.
I've been monopolizing this conversation. Sandra, Caleb, you guys have any
Oh
questions
no,
for Dean?
I'm
You're
just
just
enjoying hanging out. Yeah. This
All
is
right.
fantastic. The look
So-
in is a casual affair.
It is a casual affair, but all right.
Yeah.
So Dean, I got one thing I've always wanted to know that I've never asked you,
Ooh.
and that is, so you have worked with Zemeckis and Spielberg and Carpenter, and you've made these wonderful films, the Jurassic Parks, the Back to the Futures. Is Al Pacino as handsome in real life as he is on film? That's what I have to know.
So is he a what?
Al Pacino, is he as handsome in real life
Oh,
as he is on film?
well, I worked with him just recently, so he's gotten more vintage as usual. But
He's gotten a
but
patina.
has a presence. It's funny, it's like you look at a group of people standing in a photo at some Hollywood event, and you can pick out the actor because there's just something about them, something about actors. They're they're good looking or attractive or whatever, but there's some kind of persona, and you can tell that Al Pacino is one of those guys that that just has it.
That magnetism. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only ask because I'm a huge Al Pacino fan. Like,
Yep.
man crush Al Pacino. So
For life. Yeah.
I got 4 feet away from him one time. 4 feet. So
Is that what just the restraining order would allow?
yeah, I could
Yeah.
almost smell him. I could almost smell it.
Really?
Yep.
Well, you were violating, distancing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't do that these days. Mm-mm.
No.
Oh no.
Hey, I have a
Well-
question for Dean.
Sure.
So in Apollo 13, the zero G sequences filmed in space was filmed what was called the Vomit Comet. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the vernacular. KC-135 is the actual designation of the airplane, but I think Vomit Comet's a lot more colorful.
Okay.
And
so
it's named that for a reason.
Yikes.
So, the airplane goes up in the air, climbs. Inside there are no seats or anything. It's just padded. Goes up in the air, and then it dives a parabola. And in doing so, it's like a roller coaster. And then as you dive and you fall to earth, they keep the airplane centered around you. And it's an amazing sensation to experience it and to realize that, well, who was the lady that just came back? She'd been up there 200 and some days. And they float around and they get used to this weightless feeling. And, it's what's interesting is that it's called the vomit comet because when it goes over the top, you're weightless. Then when you pull out at the bottom, you are suddenly subjected to 2 Gs, 2 times the force of gravity, as you sit on the floor. So your inner ear goes through this confusing weightless and then, locked down. And the way it kind of works is if it's like being seasick. If your inner ear says I'm not moving because the liquid is locked down, but you move your head around, there's this conflict in your brain that says, wait a second, I'm moving around, I'm seeing a world but my inner ear is saying I'm not moving. So there's this conflict in your brain, and your brain handles it in the probably the only way it knows how. It makes you throw up.
Oh no!
Yeah.
There's got to be a better solution than that. But oh yeah.
I know. I remember that was one of the big stories when that movie came out was how that part they made it and who threw up and who didn't when they were in the vomit comet.
Yeah.
But Dean, you have a couple questions from our audience, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Right, quick. They're easy ones though. Our good buddy Lewis, who is always good on the questions, asks what your favorite food or meal is. Like, what is it that Tisha's cooking that you'd ask her to do again and again?
Oh, that's a tough one because we enjoy all kinds. Ethnic food, Mexican and Chinese, and we love good French, and so it's hard to say my favorite. I bikers or however he called it that, and I like those two, but I really like a variety of it. I enjoy eating for the taste, the flavors, rather than just food. So anything that's good and interesting is what we enjoy.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. A foodie. Yes.
A foodie and a whiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Finer things in life.
and the
And a
wonderful
wino.
Wanda. The wonderful Wanda is asking what your hardest shoot was. Toughest movie to film.
Oh, well, they've all had tough parts. Because the joy about making film is taking it somewhere, taking the audience somewhere they haven't been before or been in that way, getting them to believe the impossible, So getting them to believe that those animated characters really exist, or that we're seeing something happen on the Apollo spacecraft from space, or the audience that there are 2 Michael J. Foxes, or for the Parent Trap 2 Lindsay Lohans.
Right.
All of those films have been very, very interesting, intriguing, and I think I don't look at them as difficult as much as challenging. And the task was to find a way to to create the illusion better than it had been done before. And so I look at almost all of the ones that involve effects and magic as being my favorites, and at the same time challenging.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Our producer's asking what your favorite shot or scene is of any of your films. Are you able to narrow down that
Good question.
to that minute?
Yeah, that's tough.
That comes under the same heading of having tried to do all kinds of stuff that hadn't been done before, and not to say I did it all myself. It's always a team of people who come up with the director or the writer comes up with a concept, then they gather around them skilled people who can somehow push the envelope and create a new kind of illusion. And so it's very hard to say. I mean, almost all of those kinds of films had something about them. Jurassic Park, it's the first time anybody had used photorealistic creatures created in a computer. And it's one of those things where you can say Jurassic Park and someone will say, oh yeah, that was one of those dinosaur movies, wasn't it? And it was actually the dinosaur.
Right?
The dinosaur movie. Yeah.
So the fact that you watch Jurassic Park and it still holds up. You don't look at it and say, oh, that looks phony. They do it so much better now. No, it's technically, animation wise, concept wise, everything. It all still holds up. And the original is one that touched the audience, I think, in one of the best ways, because we've all been fascinated with the concept of dinosaurs since we were kids. Jurassic Park took that awe and wonder, made it the story, created this illusion for the first time. After that, we'd seen and we buy into all of these dinosaurs that exist now in this artificial world. But I don't know, some of the magic is gone. They almost become monster movies as opposed to awe and wonder movies.
The heart's not quite the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no question that first one, Dean, absolutely. And it was a big deal for Caleb and I, for sure, because we were working in the movie theaters, at that point. And when that came out, it was a huge thing. I remember we went to a big screening they had in Pleasanton. Was it Pleasanton, I think, Caleb?
I believe it was Pleasanton, yeah. One of the domes.
One of the domes, Century Domes, yeah. They had a big screening for it, for the theater workers. But yeah, that was cool. All right. Well, Dean, I don't know if it's up to you. If you want to, we're going to talk about your films now and, kind of in general, and pick kind of our favorite ones that we love from you. And if you want to stick around, you are more than welcome to. And if you have some dinner to get to, to eat, then
I should, sort of getting cold on the table.
Yeah, no.
No, we can't have that.
It sounds like what Tisha's making, it sounds like it's better off that's your route than staying on with us.
But, I'll also, I don't inhibit anybody, it's like, I don't want you to feel you can't talk in front of me. So,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
We're saying good things about all the films. We're just kind of elevating the ones that we love, maybe more than others.
Our favorites. Yeah.
That's all.
But
right. Dean, is there anything coming up for you that you want to tell everyone about, or anything at all to put out there for folks to pay attention to?
No, well, it's funny because, obviously, this whole new world of COVID has put a stop to production and almost everything. All these poor people whose restaurants are going to go under. So I feel bad about that, but it also means that some of the things I was going to participate in have also been put on the back burner. There were a couple of small movies. There were a couple of conventions, for fans, and I enjoy going and participating and doing panels and things. Those have been canceled. So right now, what I have to look forward to is sitting on the table.
Okay, but you also you did address a film class in Ireland a couple days ago, so you're getting out there still. You're
Yeah,
people.
I enjoy doing that. I every year I teach at UC Riverside, a great fun class, which is like about 4 days of teaching technique. This is a light and this is a camera, and then we do a student film, and we apply all the information, and they students all become the crew, so they get practical experience, and that's something that I enjoy doing, and I've done that for 4 years also in France and Mexico and Malaysia and things like that. So I'm spreading it around.
Excellent.
That's really cool. Pay it forward and teach what you know, and that's really cool.
I mean, to learn from Dean has got to be. There's no one better to learn from,
right?
So,
it's like you spread it around, and the new plant. And now I don't like to think of what I'm spreading as fertilizer. It's more wisdom. Let's call it wisdom.
Wisdom. Yes. Excellent. All right, Dean. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Yes,
Thank you.
This is very nice of you. And please give our best to Tisha. She worked very hard in helping us arrange this. So thank you to Tisha as well.
She's a great arranger for all of this kind of stuff.
She is. She's fantastic. So, all right, Dean. Well, hopefully we'll see you soon. Next time you guys come up here, hopefully at some point. We got a lot of wineries to hit, a lot more wine to drink.
I'm in.
I like to hear that.
All right. Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dean.
Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Aw, now I want to go to wine tasting with Dean.
I know, right?
That sounds like so much fun.
Isn't he so nice? So humble. So
nice.
He is,
He's really cool.
He is a mature person, I mean, just, he gets it. He does his job.
He's got the real talent.
Good at it.
Yeah.
But
he's the real deal.
He's got talent. That's exactly correct.
Yeah. Yep. He's the real deal. So he's just he doesn't feel the need to, I don't know, put on anything fake. He's just a real dude. He's really good at his craft.
Yeah. But with his resume, would you blame him if he were a little bit cocky? Yeah. Just a little bit.
Exactly.
No, but I'd be sad.
No, but it's just so refreshing.
Yeah, no, there's others. Yeah.
Oh, there's others.
There's others
that
who could easily be cocky.
In that league, yeah. That's what he teaches too. That's really awesome. I wish I could.
Right?
I wouldn't mind taking that class.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right.
You guys, so I've got notes.
Notes.
I have colorful notes.
My God.
I know.
I've got a cat in the distance freaking out about something. This is meowing like crazy. So I think he wants to go outside and we're not letting him. So
no outside time.
No outside. No. I'm trying. Yeah. No outside. There's actually a blue jay who's a blue jay family that has moved in, and they've been one of them has discovered the cats that are indoors.
Teasing them.
Yeah, so they come right up to the glass door and just sit there and chirp at him. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny, actually.
I love it.
As an asshole Jay would.
Yes.
Yeah, Jays are kind of mean. Yeah, they are.
I just spilled bourbon all over myself.
Oh no! Spilled out of the shoe?
She spilled out of the shoe.
Now
It
you
was an
smell
old
extra.
man who had a shoe.
Dab a little
Oh, well.
behind your ear. It's like, well, aftershave.
All
So
right.
we're gonna talk about some
Yeah,
films?
Sandra. Segue us, Sandra. You're so good at that.
Sure. So we decided to come up with our top 5 Dean Cundey films, our favorites, our personal favorites. And I think they're all going to be really different.
I don't know. Well, we'll see.
I don't know. How do you even pick 5?
I know that's
Okay, so I picked 5 in an honorable mention personally.
I have honorable mentions too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be honest with you. I couldn't even pick the 5th. Like I couldn't narrow it down. Like I got to my four top, and then I'm like, I can't narrow it down any more than that. I just can't.
Yeah.
So it'll be honorable mention number 5, I guess. Yeah.
And like, so, you know, kind of like how we've done this before, I picked like the ones that like his work, his eye, and it resonated for me and that I love it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could pick ones that's like, I don't want to use an example because it's probably on one of your lists, but like I could pick this film because it's like, oh, it's this film and it's highly regarded. But it's like, that might not be the one that like his work resonated for me though.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do the round robin as always.
Round robin.
We're gonna have a lot of the same though too, I would think.
And obviously we're gonna go over an hour tonight.
Yes.
But I'll still try to be brief. We'll try.
All right, please go ahead. No, Scott said we already have gone on over an hour, but
yeah. So my honorable mention, this is also going to be really funny because like I don't think we're going to match up with our numbers because my honorable mention, I have a feeling is on your list, but not an honorable mention. Make sense?
yes, just
Back to the Future.
rip it and rip. Okay.
The first one.
Is it an honorable mention?
It's an honorable mention. Again, for me,
Jesus.
his work in it is one of my favorites of his work, but not in my exact top 5. Because I love the movie. Movie.
Yeah.
And I think
And you also probably didn't see it in the movie theater, right?
No, it came out the year I was born.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there's
And
that.
I adore the movie. It's definitely for me it's like a perfect film. It really is. It is like a perfect movie.
Mhm.
I love it. And for me, this is an example of like Dean's like subtle touch kind of behind the lens. Because it's what he was talking about, you know, like kind of like that synchronicity and everything coming together.
Mhm.
That's what it was for me. Is it's, you know, it's like the 50s is so nostalgic and everything is just like when it's, and then when it's the 80s, it's like a sense of urgency. I don't know. It's just like everything about it is a really pretty visual story. And I love it. But for his work, there's others that are more my favorite because part of what I love about this movie is just the whole of it coming together.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm making sense.
Right.
Maybe I'm still high.
So are these are all, will these count as your 5 or no? You're saying
This is still an honorable mention.
Oh, geez. Okay. So we're starting with honorable mentions. Okay.
Yeah. But
right.
I assume it's on your guys' list then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What number is it for you?
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
We'll
we
get
can all
to it.
talk about it now.
Why?
They brought it up.
Well, what if it's like really high up for us?
I know. I don't want to give away too much.
Can you save it?
Even
Okay.
Scott said save
All
it.
right. All right. How about we all do a mention?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Okay. For me, it would be Romancing the Stone.
Great
Okay.
movie.
I saw this movie at UA6. It was a double feature with Top Secret.
Okay. God,
And-
the 80s are awesome.
And
Man.
I believe it was Mother's Day. So that's what we
Aw.
did on a Mother's Day in
Awesome.
1984, I think.
4, yeah. Yeah.
when
What
I was
about-
10 when I was 10
Yeah.
years old.
Right. So what about Romancing the Stone and Dean's
it was
work in
just
it?
like to me it was just fun. It was so much fun. I love that mudslide scene. I love the interaction between Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
And then
Their chemistry is great.
Danny DeVito and his brother. And I mean,
So funny.
Ira.
yeah, I don't know. It's just a movie that just kind of, it makes my heart smile.
It's a magical movie.
And part of it is, a lot of it is nostalgia. A lot of it is just because it's.
No, it's still a great film, and it's on my list, so I won't talk about it yet.
Okay.
It did not make my list, but I love that movie, and I think that he had such a great eye in that movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're doing honorable mention. We're not even doing number 5, which is funny. I couldn't even pick it 5. So is my point. So
This was hard. This was a
forcing you.
challenge.
Just
it was hard. I
say
know.
something.
I mean, honorable mention, I guess, is going to be Halloween 3.
Okay.
Halloween 3.
That one is, well, we all know I love Halloween 3.
Yes,
but,
absolutely.
I just, I mean, it's a fun, it's a like Caleb, it brings a smile to your heart. It's a fun film. It's not, you can't take the film seriously in any way whatsoever, but it's just got a lot of awesome things, like the little pieces that horror fans like us who grew up, especially in the 80s, love. You know what I mean? Those bits of cheese. I call it cheese. There's a lot of cheese. So
yes,
for someone who's lactose intolerant, I like a lot of cheese. So
well, it's not Halloween time for me unless I watch that movie.
I know that's a big thing for you, but that's just that's a fun one. So I would give, that's one of my honorable mentions for sure.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
Number 5.
Let's move to 5.
Number 5 for me is one of my favorite horror movies, which is The Fog.
Okay.
I don't think this movie gets enough love. And I think Dean did some really incredible stuff in this movie. I find this film beautiful. It's atmospheric, which is one of my favorite type of things in a horror movie. And I don't think they could have captured that, without Dean doing his magic. That it's 90 minutes long, and it's like so much happens. But it feels like a real, I don't know. It feels like a blockbuster. Like when you watch it, though, it doesn't feel like, kind of an earlier Carpenter movie. There's a lot going on. There's not a frame wasted, in my opinion. And there's some really cool, chilling shots too that are just iconic and creepy. Of course, smoke and fog is, kind of great tools for any scary movie. And the way that they used it, and that he set up so many beautiful shots with light, it's a great movie. And I think that people forget about it for some reason. I'm really glad that it's on Shudder, because I feel like a lot of people are experiencing it for the first time, which is cool. I mean, come on, ghostly pirates and
totally
leopard colony, Adrian Barbeau, Tom. We got Tom again.
Again? I know, seriously, right?
That movie could have come off so cheesy, and to me, it's not cheesy. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, Adrian Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis, Hal Holbrook.
It's a great cast.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you got ghost pirates.
And ghost pirates.
And they're spooky.
Spooky with their eyes, with their glowing eyes.
They're quite murderous too.
They are. But only if you stole their gold. Only if part of the ancestors stole their gold.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love it's kind of folk horror too, which I love.
There's a Garfield Halloween special where the ghosts bury their gold. The ghosts.
You're cutting out like all crazy.
And get their gold.
Neil, you're coming all crazy.
Garfield Nody. So one of it is based on The Fog. Uh-oh.
I think we lost.
I'm coming all crazy.
Yeah.
I'm all crazy.
The last thing I heard was Garfield. Wait, say something now.
Garfield.
Okay, I think you're back.
It was very like auto tune.
Yeah.
Garfield.
Yeah. It sounds very spooky.
I was just saying Garfield had a Halloween special with pirate ghosts as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love
and
it.
I'm a big Garfield fan. Okay,
Same.
sorry.
Yes,
if I'm
you
still
are.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 5?
Yep.
Okay. So I know this is probably going to be much higher on your guys' list, but number 5 for me would be The Thing.
It is higher on my list.
So I'm sure it's higher on everybody's list. Now, in my defense, I saw this much, much, much later, so there's not like a nostalgia factor to it, but it's an amazing, amazing movie. I love that scene where they're testing the blood and just kind of like lull you into this sense of like nothing's going to happen, and then suddenly like, bah! You know?
Quite literally.
So,
Yeah.
Movie builds great suspense.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a higher up for us.
No,
sure.
I know it will
Yeah.
be. So I know I'm the weirdo freak, but you know,
You're our weirdo freak.
who's never seen The Shining?
The weirdo freak. All right. So my 5th, like I said, I couldn't decide on a 5, so I just have a bunch written down here.
No, just pick one. Come on, you gotta pick one.
No, I will. I'm just saying. God, I don't know. I really don't know what to do as far as a 5th. I mean,
It's okay. You're not being graded on this. It's all right.
I know.
Okay, give us all 3, and we'll pick your 5 for you.
I got a bunch. Like Rock and Roll High School, Roger Rabbit, Jurassic Park.
Okay. Why don't you
Roger-
talk
Roger
about
Rabbit.
Those 3.
Okay, Jurassic
Roger.
Park's higher on my list.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I think they're all. I mean, you know, Rock and Roll High School is just a fun, freaking awesome.
it's fun. It's a fun
teenage.
movie.
You got PJ Souls, man, just doing her thing. The Ramones. I mean, yeah, Roger Corman flick. I mean, not his. Produced by Roger Corman, I should say. So, Roger Rabbit was groundbreaking. I mean, again, I know Sandra, you were 4 years old when it came out, but I saw it in the theater, so it was a big deal at the time, and it still is a fun film.
I enjoy Roger Rabbit. I enjoy him.
It's a fun film.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Jurassic Park, I'm sure we'll talk about later. I'm sure Sandra's got a higher on her list, so I know she's a fan.
That's one of my comfort movies.
Yes, I know, exactly. So
number 4, we just recently talked about Big Trouble in Little China.
Really, that high?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
That low. Excuse me.
Well, in a list of 5 with an honorable mention, I think 4 is nothing to sneeze at. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So again, I'm looking at this through like a Dean Cundey filter, right?
Okay.
And not just for like a movie that I like, but specifically his work in it that I like.
Right.
And this movie, we talked about it a little bit, but it's such eye candy. Like it's just visually, it's so much fun. And it feels like a comic book. And, the script and everything is so over the top. And if it wasn't for, his cinematography in it, it wouldn't have married right. You know what I mean? Like it's really another example of like all of it comes together to make it this like really bright comic book explosion of color and action, fast paced. Great. The guy knows what he's doing, I'm going to say. I think he's got a future.
Yeah,
he's got a future in this.
I think he might work out okay.
Yeah, there's some like especially some of those like really bright shots in the movie and stuff. Great use of lighting in that film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed. You might see that on my list a little later up. What do you got, Caleb?
Number 4 for me is Escape from New York.
Oh,
really?
Yes.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I do like quite a bit.
I really like that movie. It tickles me, I guess. I mean, I love Kurt Russell doing a Clint Eastwood impersonation. I think Snake Plissken is like this great sort of one-dimensional character, and yet not.
It's another kind of homage, like like how he's
the
channeling
strong,
John
silent
Wayne.
Cowboy walking into town, literally, and taking on everybody, and it's and visually, filming in like burned out, I believe it was Cleveland, if I remember correctly, but you know, Dean did an amazing job. So
He did. No, he did. He did some magic in that movie. That was, yeah.
I'm gonna find one where he
film.
does a shitty job. Let me try and find one here
all
for
right, find
for
one.
so.
It would be funny if we asked him that and he's like, "Oh yeah, that one. Oh, I didn't remember
Oh
that
yeah, I
one."
phoned that one in. I didn't even show up.
Yeah. I filmed that one on like a Pantech phone or something. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
All right, so my number four is Romancing the Stone.
Okay.
So
yeah.
yeah.
Good
I have to agree with
choice.
Caleb. That's just one of those movies where if you were alive at a point where you could watch movies in a theater, yeah, Romancing the Stone was one of those cool. Indiana Jones came out. There was a bunch of copies trying to kind of capitalize on that same adventure kind of thing, but
Right.
And
this was one of the
failed.
ones that succeeded. That actually succeeded with its own sense, with the comedy and the adventure and everything. It was Alfonso Arau and his Jean Wilder, and I don't know. It's a great, yeah, I agree. It's a great film. It was well shot.
Yeah.
It felt bigger, I think. It felt like a really big film considering probably, I don't know what the budget was for the movie, but I bet it wasn't as big as the film feels, at least in my opinion.
I totally get what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
So good on you, Dean.
Good job, Dean. Are we on to number 3 already?
I know, right? We're moving through.
I know, we're doing really good. Okay, my number 3 is Halloween.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Of course. Of course. Not only, okay, so it's funny because I think we've talked about like in the past, like I don't generally consider like when I name off, like when I rapid fire like my top few horror movies, Halloween isn't usually one of them. But I respect this movie so much, and I especially respect it because of Dean's work. It was literally innovative with like the steady cam and all of that, and giving us, Michael's POV. This is like actually innovative stuff, and making the killer feel just human and creepy and stocky and scary. And of course, all that great use of light and blue light and shadow. It's like it set a bar for like slashers that it's kind of like The Exorcist sets a bar for like possession films. It's like this sets a bar for like creepy slashers where it's like, this is not supernatural. This guy is just a psychopath.
Yeah.
And I don't think that just the mask or just the acting or just John Carpenter would have done it. I think hats off to Dean for making this movie a classic.
Yeah, for sure. Caleb and I think have come off pretty clear that we're not huge fans in the horror genre of Halloween, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But like you, I respect it for what they did. And there's no question the absolute best part of this movie is what Dean did. There's no question, because without that, like you said, the scene of Michael in the closet with the dimmer light coming on to reveal him.
Come on.
And all those little the steady cam, those little tricks that he did. That's what makes, for me, those are my favorite parts of the movie. Everything else,
100%.
And
techniques that people have like copied.
Yes, right? Yeah. It said a
after
standard.
The fact.
Yeah. And people are like, "Oh, I want my psychos to be like that." And it's like, yeah, you do, because that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. I got 10% left on my phone.
Oh my God, are you for real?
Yeah. If I cut out, I'll switch over to my iPad.
Okay.
My number 3 is Big Trouble in Little China.
Yay.
I believe we talked about this in our comfort film episode, but again, just a fun adventure,
Yeah.
What do you say about this movie?
We did a whole episode on it.
We did a whole episode about it already. Yeah.
Right?
That's okay. Yeah, it's just a bright, beautiful explosion, and
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 3 is The Thing.
Might appear higher on my list.
Wow.
Yes.
I thought it would have been higher for you.
Yeah. No. Okay. We don't need to talk about it yet. Then we'll wait. But yeah, I'll wait till Sandra brings it up.
No, you can say what you want to. I'm just.
No, I'll say when it's your turn. When you say your thing, I'll add into my pieces.
He'll add into his thing. And then
Yeah.
you
And
guys
that'll
can
be a big
thing
thing.
together.
That's right.
About the thing. Yeah.
About the thing. What do you got, Sandra, on 2?
No, funny you should mention it. It's actually The Thing.
The thing. Whoa.
The Thing. The Thing is my
Yay,
number
The Thing.
2 movie. Absolutely 100% one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I hold this movie on a very high pedestal.
Yeah.
Like it was one of those where the first time I showed it to Scott, I told him like I am so jealous that you're getting to see this movie for the first time because like I wish I could just like go back and see it for the first time again. And I've watched it so many times. Part of it, again, the big part of it is Dean and Dean's work. And now it's no secret, you know, if you watch the audio commentary on the Blu-ray, we know about the gleam in the eye trick.
Mm.
You guys know about that? Remember that?
No.
It's well, and for people who might not remember too, it's they literally, to show if the character was still human, they wanted a visual cue. So Dean came up with putting a literal gleam of life in their eyes. And when you know that, when you watch the movie, it helps you to kind of like suss out who's still human because they have that more reflective, alive looking thing about them. And it's subliminal and it comes off like subconsciously. And that's just like a testament to, you know, his work. I mean, I could just gush on and on about this movie, but the mood, the atmosphere, the way that he uses lighting to just make you feel like you're frozen solid out there with them, and how he somehow manages to capture that they're in this vast, snowy, you know, nothingness, and then also super claustrophobic at the same time. Just really smart ways that he shows the group. Everything about it like is such a perfect marriage, and it's to me obviously one of the best he's ever done.
Yeah. Yeah, I concur. So, but no, I mean, I just to film those kinds of effects, those kinds of
Yes.
practical effects, right? And to the
Oh,
point where
yeah.
they look like they're freaking real.
Yes.
You know, you don't sit there and laugh at it by any means. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just it's amazing. It really is. I mean
it's a true testament to like knowing when to show, how much to show, how to light the practical effect too. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean to make it, to be able to watch it now and still say, "Holy cow, that is amazing." I mean, these days, yeah, it's, I mean, testament to Dean.
Testament to Dean.
And I mean, and Rob Bottin. Let's give Rob Bottin some credit as well. I mean, he made some incredible special effects.
Oh my God.
So,
It's definitely that example of the whole team kind of going together and coalescing
right.
into
But
making something so memorable.
You do have to know how to light, you know, and how how to set up those scenes. There's no, to make it look good. There's no question.
Right. Because
So.
it's like, oh, this detail is going to be the thing that like you want everybody's eye to go to. Yeah. It's very important. And it's one of those, it's almost like cinematography is like you notice it when it's bad, unfortunately. But it's like it doesn't always get enough praise for the art and science blend that it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. It's a beautiful, beautiful film.
Number 2.
Caleb.
All right. My number 2, Frame Roger Rabbit.
Okay.
So,
Giving it up to the rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah, that, let's see. I think that came out in 88?
9, I think.
80,
I think it's 89.
something like that. Anyway, so I was in 8th or 9th grade, I think. And I mean, I can remember wearing a Roger Rabbit t-shirt, you know, like I liked it so much. But,
Yes.
but I rewatched it, you know, the 100th time today, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In preparation? Love
Yeah.
it.
And it still holds up. You know, my daughter was with me and she was supposed to be doing homework, but I would catch her like glancing over and, you know, staying over. You know, like I can't wait to sit down with her and watch it together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. What's your number 2?
Number 2 is I Am Big Trouble in Little China. Number 2.
Nice. Yes. Yes.
So we talked about it already once, but it's just I'm not to get into it again. But yeah, absolutely, that love it, and love it. Perfect,
And
wonderful
love it.
movie. Love it,
Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah.
love it.
The cult show.
Okay.
We love it.
We love it.
Well, I guess my number one will come as no surprise then.
Do it.
Jurassic Park.
Say it. Say it.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. That was funny, like when he told that like story right now in our interview. But it's like, I mean, this movie. I mean, it's freaking Jurassic Park. Like, it's another movie. It's pretty much perfect. It's pretty much perfect. And it's another one where it's the synchronicity of everything coming together. It's so seamless. The digital with the animatronics, the acting, the set, everything about it is just like pure movie magic. And some of the things that specifically that Dean did in that movie is what creates that magic. And you can read a lot of articles on it. You can watch a lot of videos where people break it down. I've never been super good at like the technical stuff about movies, aspect ratios and whatnot. But like, I get it in this one of how they filmed it. Whereas where we typically see an aspect ratio where things are really horizontal, in this, they play up the verticality. And it seems so obvious, but then like, you know, just the way they frame the actors, that they put them in the shot and then with the dinosaurs, and it tells a story. And like throughout the whole movie, it tells a story. And the way people are standing or sitting, different characters, denotes when they have, you know, when man is kind of playing God with the dinosaurs, and then when the dinosaurs are kind of the ones in control. And it's all that little stuff that's like, it reacts in your brain on like a subconscious subliminal level that you're not even aware, because it's such brilliant filmmaking. Boom.
Boom.
Jurassic Park.
Nice. That's like succinct and like.
I know. Jeez. Mic drop. Sandra out.
Yeah. That movie is. That's because you can't fuck around with Jurassic Park, man.
Yeah.
Telling it like it is.
I think it's good.
I like the raptor.
Yeah. I liked it. It was in my honorable mention list.
I like the dinosaurs.
The dino DNA.
When Sam Jackson gets it on the shitter.
That wasn't Sam Jackson on the shitter.
Somebody was not paying attention during Jurassic Park.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
He gets it in the electrical room, or he goes
it's
into
been
electrical.
It's been like a month since I've seen that movie. Like it's more like I feel weird that I haven't watched it this week. Like,
wow,
I love it.
Good job.
Comfort.
That was very eloquent. Seriously, nice job.
Thank you.
All right, Caleb, number one. I think you're gonna have the same one.
All right, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, baby.
So let's talk about it.
All right.
It's a great movie. It's like I said,
nice shirt, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's pretty much like Jurassic Park. It's kind of a perfect movie. It's kind of perfect.
It really is, especially when you're 10 years old when you see it.
Yeah. I probably saw it for the first time. Like I didn't see it when it came out, but I'm sure I was probably like 6 or 7 the first time I saw it. I mean, it's a constant.
Yeah.
I think, Caleb, if you and I mean, Sandra, if you had grown up when we did, I bet Back to the Future would probably be top of your list. Whereas if we had grown up when you were, I could see Jurassic Park plus kind of like a swapping 10 years. No?
Possibly.
Oh my God. Your whole video that whole time was insanity. It looked like aliens had taken over your body. I can't even describe it. It was uncanny. I'm sure you probably said some really profound shit.
No, he did. He did.
But wait, I could not hear it nor see it.
You didn't hear that?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you sound perfect now.
I said.
So just do it all again.
If you had grown up in the 80s with us, Back to the Future would probably be top of your list. And then likewise, roles reversed, Jurassic Park for us, maybe.
I don't know. Dinosaurs.
No?
Dinosaurs,
okay.
Though.
Yeah. Back to the Future was huge for us.
Back to the Future was like the epitome of cool.
I love Back to the Future. I love it.
So.
But it was a cultural phenomenon, I think, for us. I mean, it was, yeah, it impacted life, man. You had the DeLorean became the coolest thing in the world. What, getting an orange vest?
The Toyota 4x4.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that car's sickening. I mean, too bad it, like, now we know it put a whole hole in the ozone layer, like, just itself, but yeah. It looked
That's
cool.
what I think of every time I watch the movie. Damn you, Toyota 4x4.
But it is cool.
Oh, Back to the Future. I don't know. Yeah, Kayla. I mean, how do you even describe? I mean,
I don't, you know, like I watched it last night and I just had like a smile on my face the entire time.
yeah.
You know, what do you say? Christopher Lloyd, Michael J. Fox,
And we all know too now, like, it's very public knowledge that Michael J. Fox was not the original choice for Marty McFly, which is like insane. Like you're like, what? No, there's no one else. There's no substitutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And especially to have that.
It's weird
chemistry.
to see those clips that they filmed with Eric Stoll.
Yes,
like,
no offense to the gentleman, but
that's not right.
You sir are no Marty McFly.
Yeah, no. When you see those scenes that are available to watch of him, yeah, it's totally different.
It is impossible for me to be in front of a cake and not say, well, kids, looks like we're going to have to eat this cake again. Uncle Joey didn't make parole or whatever. I think of that every time. It's like flew the coop. And it's like, oh,
yep.
Uncle Jailbird
So
Joey.
you're my Uncle Jailbird Joey.
It's very funny. Lots of little subtle funny parts like that. Leah Thompson is just so lovely in that movie too. Because
she is. Yep.
I love her, you know, all the different stages of her in the film as well.
Right.
And yeah, and she has great chemistry with her son.
Michael J. Fox.
With her son?
Marty?
With Marty? Oh my God, it's Calvin Klein.
So funny. Pretty funny.
And I mean, just the music, just using the clock tower square and Universal backlot. You know what I mean? Like to use that one little
Gremlins?
area so well, you know, over and over. I mean, it's just, you know, it's
the
cool.
Music. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful film.
Everything. That is one where it all just comes together. Because that's, I mean, one thing that for sure they don't know when they're filming is about the music, right? What music they're going to get, both the score and
You're
Huey
doing it
Lewis
again.
doing his thing. You don't realize, you know, and
he's doing it again. He's been taken over again.
Blah, blah.
Are you back?
Am I back? I don't know.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it is so creepy, Neil. I cannot describe to you what happens when you get taken over by the alien, by the pod.
Uh-oh.
It is like a drunk robot.
Okay. I better go back in the pod. Quick. Back into the pod for me. No? Sandra can't hear me still?
Reptilian elite.
We can hear you.
I just feel bad for you.
Okay.
I feel for you.
Okay.
I feel bad for you. I don't want you to be a drunk robot anymore.
I'll survive. I can't help it. I have a problem. I have a drinking problem.
We can hear you. Yeah. It's just really funny.
Ish.
All right. Caleb, what do you want to add?
Dean Cundey is the man.
Cundey is. We love him. We love Dean Cundey. He's an artist.
He's awesome.
So cool. Yeah. Such an honor. And I'm feeling so bad for him with his projects being on hold right now. That's, that sucks. I really want to, obviously enjoy his work selfishly as well.
Yeah. And everyone else for that matter. But Lewis keeps calling my freakouts a possession. We're digging on Neil possessions.
Possession. He's possessed.
Possessions. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I just can't hold them back.
Oh, the earbuds hurt my ears so bad. You guys, I hate them.
I know.
I get so cranky.
You guys want to wrap it up before I go again?
So next week we're doing our book reports,
Yeah.
which is where we
Yes.
watched the Shame films.
Yes.
Shame, shame,
Shame.
Shame, shame, shame.
shame, shame, shame. Scott says.
Shame, shame, shame. Yeah, and we'll report
All right.
back.
Awesome. So don't forget, everyone, if there's anyone new on here, please go check out our regular shows you can go back on that are in the studio where I'm not going. So otherwise, see you next week.
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody.